Chapter 1. The Forgotten Legend. In every corner of the Milky Way, old explorers whispered the same impossible story. They spoke of a civilization that built cities above the clouds, a race that controlled gravity itself, a people whose knowledge was so advanced that they could move planets without destroying them. Their name had survived thousands of years, the Iliun. Most historians dismissed the stories as myths. Some believed the Iliun were gods, others claimed they had never existed at all. But hidden deep beyond the Orion Arm, past forgotten star systems, beyond black holes and silent nebulae, something ancient was awakening, something that had been waiting for over 100,000 years. Chapter 2. The Birth of Illyria. Long before humanity discovered fire, a beautiful planet called Illyria orbited 3 golden suns. Its skies shimmered with blue light. Floating mountains drifted peacefully above crystal oceans. Gigantic waterfalls flowed from islands suspended among the clouds. Every night, millions of stars illuminated the heavens. It looked less like a planet and more like paradise. This was the home of the Iliun. Unlike other intelligent species, the Iliun never fought over land or power. Instead, they competed in knowledge. Scientists were respected more than generals. Teachers were honored more than kings. Children learned mathematics before language, astronomy before history. Every citizen believed one simple truth: knowledge is the greatest power in the universe. Thousands of peaceful years passed. Then everything changed. Chapter 3. The Discovery of Etherion. One young scientist named Velo made the greatest discovery in Iliun history. While studying distant pulsars, he detected invisible streams of energy flowing through space. The energy surrounded stars, planets, living beings, even empty vacuum. He called it Etherion. At first, no one believed him, but after years of experiments, Velo proved its existence. Etherion could generate unlimited clean energy, manipulate gravity, heal injuries, even bend space itself. The discovery transformed civilization forever. Factories no longer polluted. Disease disappeared. Aging slowed dramatically. Within only 5 centuries, the Iliun became the most advanced civilization the galaxy had ever seen. Chapter 4. The Skyborn Empire. Using Etherion technology, engineers achieved the impossible. Entire mountains rose into the air. Massive floating islands covered the skies. Cities no longer needed the ground beneath them. Every structure hovered effortlessly. The greatest city became known as Aurelia Prime. It stretched across hundreds of kilometers. Golden towers reached toward the heavens. Energy waterfalls flowed between floating platforms. Thousands of airships crossed glowing skies. Millions of Iliun lived above the clouds. Visitors arriving from distant worlds often stood frozen in amazement. Some cried, some prayed, some simply stared. Nothing else in the universe compared to Aurelia Prime. It became known as the crown of civilization. Chapter 5. Beyond the stars. Although their world was perfect, the Iliun still looked upward. What lies beyond the stars? That question inspired an entire generation. Scientists constructed the first Stargate. Unlike ordinary spacecraft, the Stargate folded space itself. A journey that once required hundreds of years now lasted only seconds. The galaxy opened before them. Thousands of exploration vessels departed. Every month brought new discoveries, new planets, new civilizations, new mysteries. Unlike conquerors, the Iliun came as teachers. They introduced medicine, agriculture, energy technology. Peace spread across thousands of worlds. Soon, nearly every civilization knew the same symbol, a silver star surrounded by blue light, the emblem of the Alien Empire. For over 20,000 years, war disappeared. The galaxy entered its greatest golden age. Chapter 6. The Signal Beyond Reality. Then, one ordinary morning, everything changed. An exploration ship called the Horizon detected a signal. It did not come from a planet, or a star, or even another galaxy. It came from somewhere outside reality itself. Captain Lysera listened carefully. The transmission repeated every 13 seconds. No language, no music, just a strange pulse. Scientists immediately became fascinated. The Council ordered an expedition. 5 of the greatest research ships ever built entered unknown space. Weeks became months. Months became years. Finally, the fleet found it. A gigantic wall of blue energy stretching farther than any scanner could measure. Ancient symbols floated across its surface. Some symbols resembled stars. Others looked like impossible mathematics. No civilization had ever built anything so enormous. The Elu named it the Eternal Barrier. No one knew its purpose. No one knew who created it. But curiosity overcame caution. Research stations surrounded the structure. Experiments began. The first scans detected unimaginable amounts of energy. Then, something inside the barrier moved. At first, scientists believed it was a sensor error. Then it moved again. Far below the glowing surface, a single eye slowly opened, and somewhere deep within the darkness, something ancient smiled. Chapter 7. The First Warning. The research station continued scanning the Eternal Barrier for weeks. Nothing happened. The scientists slowly relaxed. Some even believed the strange movement had been an illusion. Then one night, every alarm inside the station activated at the same time. The barrier was changing. A small crack appeared across its glowing surface. Blue light escaped into space. Seconds later, every computer shut down. Gravity failed. The station began shaking violently. Before anyone could react, a voice echoed through every speaker. It wasn't translated. It wasn't transmitted. Every living mind heard it directly. Who has awakened me? The message lasted only 3 seconds, but every scientist collapsed to the floor, their eyes filled with fear, because the voice didn't sound alive. It sounded ancient. Chapter 8. The Return of Darkness. Within hours, communication with the research station was lost. The Council immediately dispatched the Imperial fleet. When the ships arrived, the station was still there, but something was terribly wrong. No explosions, no battle, no damage. It simply floated silently in space. A boarding team entered. Every hallway was empty. Equipment remained untouched. Food still sat on tables, yet not a single living Ilion remained. Thousands of people had vanished, without a trace. Then, dark shadows began moving across the walls. The soldiers opened fire. Their energy weapons passed straight through them. One by one, the shadows consumed the boarding team. Only one soldier escaped. Before losing consciousness, he whispered, "The darkness is alive." Chapter 9. Humanity appears. While the Ilions searched for answers, a young civilization had just entered the galactic stage. Humans. Compared to the Ilion, human technology seemed primitive. Their starships were slower, their cities were smaller, their weapons were weaker. Many civilizations laughed at them, but the Ilion noticed something different. Humans never stopped improving. Every mistake became a lesson. Every defeat made them stronger. They adapted faster than any species ever recorded. The Alien Council watched humanity with growing curiosity. They had no idea these newcomers would one day change the fate of the universe. Chapter 10. The Shadow Fleet. Months later, long-range scanners detected impossible readings. An entire fleet emerged from the crack in the barrier, but these weren't ordinary ships. They looked alive. Black crystal covered every surface. Purple energy flowed through enormous cracks. The stars around them became dimmer. Wherever the fleet traveled, light itself seemed to disappear. Scientists gave them one name, the Shadow Fleet. Without warning, they attacked the nearest alien colony. Millions died within hours. No cities remained, only darkness. For the first time in 50,000 years, the Alien Empire declared war. Chapter 11. The Battle of Aurelia. The Imperial fleet gathered around Aurelia Prime. More than 50,000 warships formed defensive lines. Gigantic orbital cannons surrounded the floating capital. Every citizen watched the skies. Then, the Shadow Fleet arrived. The battle began with a single beam of blue light. Moments later, space erupted into chaos. Thousands of ships exchanged devastating fire. Entire fleets vanished in explosions brighter than suns. Yet the enemy never slowed. Destroyed shadow ships reassembled themselves. The Ilion had never faced an enemy like this. Hour after hour, the defenders fought bravely, but the darkness kept advancing. Chapter 12. The Human Decision. Far away, on Earth, human leaders received an emergency transmission. The Ilion asked for help. Some governments hesitated. Others argued humanity was too weak. Then an elderly admiral stood before the council. He said only one sentence. If the Ilion fall today, tomorrow, the darkness comes for us. Silence filled the room. Minutes later, every nation voted together. For the first time in history, humanity became united. Factories worked day and night. Civilian ships were converted into warships. Millions volunteered. They knew they might never return. But they also knew one thing. Some battles are worth fighting, even when victory seems impossible. As thousands of human ships jumped toward Elion space, the greatest alliance in galactic history was born. Chapter 13. The Alliance of Hope. Within days, nearly 30,000 human warships entered Elion space. Compared to Elion vessels, they looked simple. Their armor was heavier, their engines were slower, their weapons were less advanced. Some Elion commanders questioned whether humanity would survive even a single battle, but the humans had something no machine could measure: determination. As the fleet assembled above Aurelia Prime, Human Admiral James Carter met the Elion High Commander, Valor. Valor studied the human carefully. "You understand your chances of survival are very small." James smiled. "We didn't come here to survive. We came to make sure everyone else does." For the first time in centuries, an Elion commander smiled. Chapter 14. The Battle of Solis Rift. The Shadow Fleet attacked without warning. Millions of black warships poured from hyperspace. The galaxy had never witnessed a battle of this scale. Blue Elion lasers illuminated space. Human missile cruisers launched endless waves of rockets. Explosions lit entire star systems. Still, the enemy kept advancing. Human destroyers deliberately rammed enemy flagships. Fighter pilots refused to retreat. One damaged cruiser sacrificed itself by crashing into a massive shadow carrier, destroying both fleets. The Elion watched in disbelief. Humans fought even after losing everything. That day, The Elune finally understood why humanity could never be underestimated. Chapter 15. The Sky Nexus. Deep beneath Aurelia Prime stood the greatest machine ever built, the Sky Nexus. For 50,000 years it had powered every floating city. Now it would become the galaxy's final hope. Scientists discovered that if the Nexus released all its energy at once, it could rebuild the eternal barrier. But there was one terrible cost. The energy would completely destroy Aurelia Prime. Everything the alien had built would disappear forever. The council remained silent. Finally, Valor stood. If our civilization must end, let it end by saving others. Every council member agreed. The final countdown began. Chapter 16. Humanity's Last Stand. The Shadow Fleet launched its greatest assault. Millions of enemy ships surrounded Aurelia Prime. The Sky Nexus still needed 20 minutes. Someone had to hold the line. Humanity volunteered. Every human captain received the same order: do not retreat. One by one, human ships charged directly into the darkness. Some ran out of ammunition. They kept fighting. Some lost engines. They became stationary defense platforms. Others were torn apart. Yet their crews continued firing until the final second. Human soldiers repeated one message across every communication channel: hold the line. The phrase echoed throughout the galaxy. Inspired by humanity's courage, the Elune launched one final counterattack. Together, they bought enough time. Chapter 17. The Light of the Heavens. At exactly 0, the Sky Nexus activated. A pillar of brilliant blue light burst into space. It pierced galaxies. Stars glowed brighter than ever before. The light spread faster than thought itself. Every shadow ship froze. The Void Sovereign screamed. Its ancient prison reformed around it. The eternal barrier sealed once more. The darkness vanished. Silence returned. The war was over. But Aurelia Prime began collapsing. Floating islands shattered into thousands of glowing fragments. Golden towers dissolved into starlight. The greatest city ever built disappeared forever. The Elune Empire was gone. Chapter 18. The Last Legacy. 10,000 years passed. Humanity became the protectors of the galaxy. Children learned about the Elune in schools. Ancient ruins became sacred places. The story of Aurelia Prime became legend. Many believed the Elune were extinct. Then, one ordinary morning, an explorer detected a signal from deep space. The message contained only 6 words: the Guardians are coming home again. Moments later, thousands of enormous floating cities emerged from a glowing dimensional gateway. Their towers still shone with blue light. Their banners carried the ancient Elune symbol. Standing at the front of the largest city was Valor. He had survived by placing himself in stasis before the Sky Nexus activated. Looking toward Earth, he smiled. You protected our future. Now let us build yours. Human fleet saluted. The Elune bowed in return. From that day forward, humanity and the Elune ruled not as masters and followers, but as equals. 2 civilizations, 1 destiny. And whenever travelers crossed the stars, they remembered a single truth: civilizations are remembered for their power, but legends are remembered for their sacrifice. The end.